Hi, everyone. My name is Matt Kussin. I'm the manager of transportation policy and programs in transportation and transit services with the City of Kingston, and I'm the project manager on the Integrated Mobility Plan project.
And my name is Laura Flaherty. I'm a project manager in planning services, and I'm the project manager on the official plan project. Thanks for joining us on this online presentation. We wanted to dive straight into an overview of the official plan and integrated mobility plan projects, which we're collectively calling YG220K. Kingston's clearly growing, and that's projected to continue well into the future. By 2051, we're expected to reach a population of 220,000 people. To help plan for this growth, the city is aligning its new official plan and integrated mobility plan projects for the first time ever. This is a bold and really strategic move endorsed by council to ensure that how we grow and how we move are planned together. This is the turning point where we make intentional choices to shape a connected and sustainable city for the future. An official plan sets the rules for how we grow. It answers questions like, where will new housing and jobs go? How do we protect our environment, our cultural heritage, and the other things that make Kingston special? Where will the needed infrastructure be to support new growth? It also ensures that development aligns with community services and assets like city parks. It's the legal foundation for how the city will develop over the next 25 years. The development of the official plan is being approached in a phased way, each one building off the last, with multiple opportunities for community input. Based on our past experiences with policy projects, we've designed this project as consultation through drafts. This means that you will get to see draft policies and mapping in each step of the project to ensure you can see how the different layers of policies work together and apply across the city. This doesn't mean that we have our minds made up. Each draft is a work in progress and will be revised throughout the life of the project in response to the feedback that we receive. So over the past 5 to 10 years, we've experienced pretty significant change in different crises that have affected our land use planning priorities and principles. As a city, we've been learning and adjusting and innovating in smaller projects, and now is the time to bring these ideas together into one brand new citywide policy. The first draft of the official plan will focus on alignment with the new provincial planning statement, consolidating and rethinking existing policies, and laying out a clear structure built around the big ideas that we're going to present for you today, which is really the focus of this presentation. The second draft, which will come out in the fall of 2025, will go deeper, especially into the natural heritage policies and mapping. It will integrate more detailed elements like ecological protection that are currently being discussed in our ongoing natural heritage study. Then in the winter of 2026, we'll move into the final draft, which will include urban boundary expansion, phasing policies for new communities, and refined policy language overall. Each of these phases will be supported by public consultation because this plan ultimately needs to reflect what Kingstonians want for their future.
So the Integrated Mobility Plan outlines how people and goods will move across the city, both now and into the future. It considers all the ways that people get around, including walking, rolling, cycling, transit, and driving, and is designed to meet the needs of a growing and changing population. At its core, the goal is to build a transportation system that is safe and sustainable and accessible for people of all ages and abilities. So the Integrated Mobility Plan is progressing through distinct phases, similar to the official plan, with a focus on bringing together all of Kingston's transportation planning work into one coordinated framework. So over the past decade, Kingston has advanced individual plans such as the Active Transportation Master Plan and the Road Safety Plan. But now this project is really about integrating those efforts into a complete and connected mobility system for the future. We're currently in the rethinking phase, which is really about reviewing what's working well and identifying where gaps remain. Looking ahead to the winter and spring of 2026, we'll begin evaluating and designing Kingston's future mobility networks. And this work will really map out future transit corridors, cycling routes, and road improvements that are aligned with the city's growth expectations. As with the official plan, community engagement will continue to take place throughout each phase, and each round of feedback will help shape and refine the final integrated mobility plan. Next, we'd like to share a snapshot of what we've heard from the community so far. Community engagement is really at the heart of both the official plan and the integrated mobility plan, and the feedback we've received is what gives shape and meaning to the big ideas that you'll see throughout this presentation. We'd like to highlight the engagement that has shaped this work so far. We're certainly in the early stages of the process, but we've been able to connect with many people across Kingston. To date, nearly 9,400 people have visited the project webpage, but we've also made a real effort to connect with people in person. Through 6 pop-ups held throughout the summer and fall of last year, we spoke to more than 200 residents through conversations and activities and storytelling. We've also hosted 5 lived work experience workshops where 16 community members shared their day-to-day experiences navigating Kingston. We've also partnered with Ridge Road Training and Consulting to host an Indigenous engagement workshop, bringing essential voices into this process. A citywide survey also gathered 429 responses on topics like housing and transportation, growth, and climate. We also formed a 21-member community advisory group selected through an adapted civic lottery with 6 project champions leading deeper outreach into their communities. To engage younger residents, we ran a coloring contest with kids and families. And most recently, in April, we hosted a public information session and 4 focus groups. This recorded presentation aligns with the information that was presented in those sessions. Over the past several months, we've been listening closely to what matters most to people across Kingston, and some clear and consistent themes have emerged. So first, residents have told us that they want more connected, walkable communities with safer infrastructure that works for all people of all ages and abilities. Public transit was also another top priority. People want a system that's frequent and reliable and easy to use. And this is closely tied to the need for safer, more connected walking, rolling, and cycling networks. We also heard strong support for affordable and diverse housing options, especially in homes near transit and close to daily needs like groceries and schools and services. And finally, people told us they want future growth to reflect what makes Kingston special, our historic neighborhoods, our green spaces, and waterfront. Looking ahead to 2051, we've heard a strong support for smart, sustainable development, and that means more infill, more mixed-use buildings, and more complete communities, not more sprawl. Residents recognize that better integrated transportation and land use planning is also essential to reducing car dependency and improving overall quality of life. We've also heard strongly that climate action, heritage preservation, and housing affordability are not separate issues. People see them as deeply connected and expect us to plan with those connections in mind. There's also a clear call to design an inclusive city, one that works for seniors and youth and families and marginalized communities. And finally, when it comes to mobility, residents are looking ahead. They're asking for infrastructure that prioritizes transit, like dedicated lanes and reliable service that can scale and evolve as Kingston grows.
The following slides introduce the big ideas, which are bold, high-level directions that will shape the next official plan and integrated mobility plan for Kingston. Right now, Kingston's land use and transportation plans are misaligned, and that's exactly why we're bringing them together. The big idea behind YG 220K is simple. Land use is transportation, and transportation is land use. Where people live, work, shop, and play impacts how they move around the city, and vice versa. How we grow shapes how people move, and how people move shapes where growth should happen. By planning them together, we can build a more connected, sustainable, and livable city where people can get where they need to go, no matter where they live or how they travel. This integrated approach is the foundation for all of the big ideas that follow. Now let's explore the big ideas shaping the official plan. Theme 1, called Distinct Places, Shared Future, is about embracing Kingston's diversity and planning for context and place-based growth. Idea 1, called The Fourfold, Context-Based Planning, is about tailoring policies to reflect the unique identity of Kingston's downtown, inner city, suburban, and rural areas. Each of these areas should retain its own distinct sense of place and ambition. Idea 2, called Downtown as a Magnet and a Neighborhood, is about continuing to support downtown Kingston as the primary cultural and tourism heart of the city. It calls for more housing to grow the number of people who live, work, shop, and play downtown. It's also about recognizing the importance of heritage as a vital place-making feature that supports our connection to the past, economic growth, and tourism. Idea 3, called Unlocking Rural Potential and Opportunity, is reflective of the importance of our huge rural area. We need to unlock its potential by encouraging more rural business, service, and housing with policies that support farming, tourism, and outdoor recreation. We need to continue to protect our natural and agricultural lands and help to support a vibrant rural lifestyle. The so what of this theme is really about recognizing and embracing the different areas and communities of Kingston. And by doing so, we can create policies that not only work for those individual places, but ensure that the plan supports the success of Kingston as a whole. Theme 2, called Building Complete Communities Through Form, Infill, and Choice, focuses on growing inward and creating walkable, complete communities. Idea 4, called Focusing on Form for Complete Neighborhoods, is about allowing more services and stores throughout the city by focusing on how buildings fit into their surroundings. A form-first approach focuses on the design of public spaces and the size and the location of those buildings to support vibrant neighborhoods with a mix of uses in urban and rural areas. Idea 5, called Growing Up Near Transit Stations and Corridors, is about focusing our tallest and most intense forms of development near major transit hubs and corridors. This is important to support affordability, transit ridership, and complete communities. Idea 6, called More In Than Out, flips our current growth pattern to prioritize infill and intensification within our existing built-up area. This means focusing the majority of new growth within areas that are already developed. Idea 7, called More Housing Choices for All, simplifies housing definitions to allow for different housing or for different ways of living in all neighborhoods, encouraging affordability, diversity, and the ability for people to age in place. The so what of this theme is being much more intentional about where growth is appropriate, what form it should take, and where it is not appropriate, helps us to create new opportunities for residents and businesses while also supporting fiscally responsible infrastructure and service planning. Theme 3 supports a strong local economy by allowing more flexibility in how spaces are used. So idea 8 is called Flexible on Use to support local business and the economy. This is about disconnecting land use from built form to allow for more flexible mixed-use development, simplified, broad land use categories, and the ability to have dual designations will give businesses the freedom to evolve, adapt, and grow. The so what of this theme? Supporting the establishment and growth of more businesses benefits everyone. More economic growth within the local economy, more jobs, and more stores and services nearby for residents. The fourth and final OP theme is called Climate in Every Decision. So idea 9, called Enhancing Climate Resilience and Ecological Connectivity, is about embedding climate action throughout land use planning to protect natural systems, promote compact, low carbon and low impact development, and embrace construction innovation. Really, it's about treating every land use decision as climate action. The so what of this theme is that for the first time, we're really connecting the dots. Good planning and transportation policy is climate action.
Let's now explore the big ideas shaping the integrated mobility plan. The first theme focuses on providing more ways to move, making it easier for people to get around using different modes of transportation. Big idea number 1 is more choice, less dependency. And this idea is about providing real transportation options, including walking, cycling, and transit, so people aren't reliant on driving for every trip. When more people have better options, fewer cars are on the road, freeing up space for those who do need to drive. Big idea number 2 is ridership-focused transit, moving more people better. This is about that a few connected, high-quality routes can move more people more effectively than many infrequent or indirect ones. Big idea number 3 is building a connected, high-quality cycling network. This is about developing a citywide cycling network that is safe, comfortable, and direct, making biking a real option for all ages and abilities. The key takeaway from this theme is simple. When walking, biking, and transit work well, driving works better too. More travel options create a more efficient, affordable, and sustainable transportation system for everyone. The second theme focuses on how Kingston's streets and transit network need to evolve as the city grows, ensuring they support safe, efficient, and sustainable travel. Big idea number 4 is complete streets designed by context. This idea is the core principle that every street should be safe and accessible, but recognizing that the right design depends on the street's role, the surrounding land uses, and the available space. Downtown streets, suburban arterials, and quiet neighborhood roads each require different design approaches to meet their specific needs. Big idea number 5 is aligning growth and higher order transit. This is about planning future transit corridors like Princess Street, Bath, and Gardner's alongside planned growth. It means prioritizing transit through dedicated lanes and signal improvements to provide faster, more reliable service now while preparing for technologies like bus rapid transit in the future. The key takeaway here is that when we plan streets and transit together with growth, we make it easier for people to get where they need to go, both today and into the future. The third theme is all about safety. Everyone should feel safe getting around Kingston, whether they're walking, biking, taking transit, or driving. Big idea number 6 is safe streets aren't just a goal, they're non negotiable. No one should lose their life or be seriously injured while moving through our city. Guided by Vision Zero, this big idea is about creating streets that protect people by default, not by exception. It shifts the focus from perfect behavior to design that minimizes harm, even when mistakes happen. Big idea 7 is safer pedestrian crossings faster. This is about accelerating improvements to pedestrian crossings, especially near schools, transit stops, and busy roads, to make walking and rolling safer, easier, and more connected to where people need to go. The key message here is that safer crossings, slower speeds, and better street design make everyday trips more comfortable and predictable for everyone. The final theme recognizes that transportation is changing fast. By supporting new technologies like e-bikes, car share services, and smart traffic signals, we can build a transportation system that's more connected, more resilient, and better prepared for the future. Big idea number 8 is embracing innovation, not just reacting to it. So, smart mobility isn't just about the newest technology or devices, it's about using technology to better link transportation options and streamline trips and provide people with more reliable and convenient choices. This idea is about being proactive and data driven, really shaping a transportation system that works across all modes for all people. The key takeaway here is that embracing innovation means building a system that's flexible, efficient, and ready for what's next. And we can wait for change to happen to us, or we can shape it in a way that works for Kingston.
Let's talk about what's coming next. So I spoke to the slide earlier. I'll be really brief here. The next step in the official plan is a really big one. You can expect to see the first draft of the official plan, including policies and mapping this summer.
The integrated mobility plan, as I said, is following a similar timeline. Over the coming months, we'll be moving from assessing Kingston's current transportation system into designing policies and future networks that will guide how the city grows and moves. We'll have more to share later this fall as draft plans continue to take shape.
If I were a YouTube channel, this is where I'd say make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. But since we're not, if you'd like to share feedback, follow up with us, or stay engaged in these projects, please visit our project webpage on the city's Get Involved Kingston website and sign up for updates to stay in the loop. We send out emails to subscribers whenever there's a new update, document, or event, and there will be many updates, documents, and events coming up soon. If you have specific questions or feedback, here's how to reach us via the IMP and OP email addresses on the screen. Thank you for taking the time to join us, for sharing your ideas, and for helping to shape Kingston's future.